We want to welcome everybody to our program this afternoon. Mark Anthony does cooking programs in 5 different networks, including 3ABN, LLBN, Smart Lifestyle TV, Better Health TV, and Good News TV. His program, called The Whole Message, is in the 9th season. He has been a private caterer for many celebrities, including Jack Nicklaus, Eddie Murphy, Montel Williams, Joanne Zett, and Rio Speedwagon, and Styx and Journey. For the past 2 years, he served as president at Black Hills Health and Education Center. So let's bow our heads for prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this opportunity we have today. We ask you to bless our speaker as he teaches us about health. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Amen. All right. Well, good to be here. Get to do some cooking today.
Amen. Cool.
And yes, the last couple years I was actually president at Black Hills Health and Education Center. It's one of the major wellness centers in the country. If you don't know what a wellness center is, that's where people go to get healthy. Now, what we specialized in was weight loss, diabetes, and autoimmune diseases. We have a lot of autoimmune disease people coming in there. And of course, heart disease and cancer and different things. But that's what we specialized in. And after being there for 2 years, we had 2 very successful years, the most successful years they've had there in many, many years. And got the place organized. It was a fun project for my wife and I. But I wanted to get out there and get out in the community one more time and do some tours and show you the secrets of what the wellness centers do to get people healthy. I've been to every major wellness center in the country, done events at most of them, dealt with a lot of the doctors regularly. In fact, at Black Hills, I brought in a different guest doctor every other month. So yeah, it was a great marketing program, you know, so I'm a business major, you know. So, but coming back out on the road after, you know, I've been touring for 16 years, you know, and then 2 years off the road, and it's like, come back on, this world is just getting nutty. I mean, it is like totally upside down now. It's just crazy. I mean, I look around and I was like, wait a minute, this wasn't like this the last time I was here. And I mean, whoever came up with this phrase, never trust a skinny chef? I mean, really, shouldn't we never trust a fat chef? Right. Now, I probably couldn't have said that 75 pounds ago. I've already lost 75 pounds going on a vegan, vegetarian, I had a 48-inch waist, plant-strong lifestyle. But I do want to point something out, okay? Excess weight comes from excess sugars, excess fats, excess calories, lack of exercise, metabolism sometimes has a little bit to do with it. Hereditary hardly ever has anything to do with it. A lot of people love that excuse though. Oh, my parents were that way, this is why I'm this way. And it's like, no, it's because you're eating the same pork chops your parents were. Okay, it doesn't make it hereditary, okay? Now, if you want to lose a quick 20 pounds, if you want to lose a quick 25 pounds the easy way, just wear black. Do things the easy way. Now, I do have blue on today, right? But check out the sides. That's right. You got that black, and it's called designer weight loss. You just wear the right clothes like that. So, yeah, we're going to share with you exactly what it's like to go through a wellness center today. And but you don't have to pay $7,000. That's what it costs to go through a 3-week program. 6,000 to 8,000 depends where you go. But it costs that much. And they want you to go through 3-week programs because they know it takes 3 weeks to either break a habit or start a new habit. So you need to do something consistently for 3 weeks. And then you broke that habit. Now, what we're doing is breakfast today too. We're doing a breakfast meal. All these tours I've done over the years, I've never done breakfast. But after being at Black Hills, we said, no, we got to do a breakfast menu. And the interesting part, every single wellness center in the country serves white beans for breakfast every single morning. Amen. And they want you eating white beans every single morning for breakfast. A half a cup to a cup has all the protein you need for an entire day. The white beans absorb into the cells much easier, digest much easier than the darker beans. That's why they have the white beans for breakfast, and then they do the darker beans throughout the day. So white beans for breakfast, that's what they're doing. It sounds boring, but these are the Great Northern beans. You got navy beans, you got cannellini beans, chickpeas, soybeans, and then you can flavor it a lot of different ways too. You can add a little bit of salt to it. Now what I did with this is I soaked the beans overnight, drained them, filled it back up. It's about half full right now. Okay, it's about half full. And then we can do some garlic and onion too. Now you want to make sure you measure everything precisely, okay? Just make sure everything's measured exactly. A little garlic, a little bit of onion. Now you can do that as long as you know the ratio, okay? It's going to be 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion. Just remember that ratio. 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion works fabulous for all your soups and sauces and things like that. So you'll love that ratio. And then we put in a whole bunch of cayenne pepper. More? She wants more. Okay, I'll put in more. You want more? She wants more. Okay, we'll put in more.
Yes.
Yes, they like it spicy here. All right, good. Is that enough? I'll be mild on you today. Okay. Now, cayenne pepper is one of those secret ingredients that all the wellness centers use. Most wellness centers now have cayenne pepper on every single table, and they want you using it for every single meal because it reduces inflammation and helps blood circulation. Yes, this is a game changer. People actually put it on their feet. Yes, saran wrap, olive oil, cayenne pepper wrapped around your feet, it helps blood circulation. Yes, it is a real game changer. So, okay. Now over here, we're going to do some breakfast sausage here. If you're following along with your recipe sheet, I'm only doing half a batch today. Okay? So just keep that in mind, it's only half a batch here that I'm doing. We're going to set the oats aside. I'm just going to set those aside for right now. And we're going to put everything else in the hot water here. You've got your walnuts, which you can just get chopped walnuts. And I like to chop them myself because it just gives it a nicer texture. And this is Bragg's Liquid Aminos. Now you can use soy sauce, but soy sauce has wheat in it. And most wellness centers know that wheat causes inflammation. The new hybridized wheat, which is basically everywhere, has different chromosomes than the original wheat that we grew up with. And it causes inflammation. So a lot of people are having problems with the wheat. Yeah, arthritis, joint pain, you get rid of the wheat, arthritis and joint pain is going away. So they're having lots of success going gluten-free. So if you're celiac or gluten intolerant, everything today is gluten-free, so you're okay to eat everything. We'll do a little chicken-style seasoning here, which you can get at any food store, and then it's vegan. And then I've got some garlic and onion. I bet you know the ratio too, right? Yeah. 1 part garlic, 2 parts onion. Okay. For some seasoning here, we've got some sage, we've got some rosemary, and we've got some fennel seeds. Sage, rosemary, and fennel seeds. And then I've got some liquid smoke, which you can get at any health food store. Your salt. And this is what you got to watch out for. Here we go with the red pepper again, okay? Crushed red pepper flakes. Now, if you get it fresh from the grocery store, it looks oily. It's really powerful. But if it's been sitting in your cupboard for 10 years, like a lot of people, and it's all dried out, it loses a lot of its potency. So, but we'll put the red pepper flakes in there. In fact, let's turn the oven on 350 degrees, and we'll get the oven warmed up too while we're at it here. And let me give it a little stir. So first thing what happens when you come to a wellness center, they'll do a quick evaluation when you get there. People are flying in, like usually on a Sunday, and you never know when they're going to get there. And then first thing, Monday morning, we're going to start you out with lemon water. You want to do a whole lemon, squeeze it into either a pint or a quart, whichever one you want to do. And just squeeze the whole lemon into there, fill it up with water, and that's what you're going to drink first thing in the morning. It creates an alkaline body, which cancer cells hate, and it gets your digestive system working the way it's supposed to for the day. So lemon water every single morning. And you can put a little sweetener in there if you want, like some stevia or something. No sugar, don't do that. And so that's what you would do every single morning. And then we do a quick evaluation on you. Basically, we want to see a range of motion test. We want to kind of see what your range of motion is. And some people come in and they're like, oh, I've got a 3 in pain here, and I've got a 6 in pain. I can't even go any farther than this. And then every single morning, we're going to do 20 minutes of stretching. And not calisthenics, okay? You can do stretching. Just calisthenics is where you're using your own body weight to exercise. Stretching is just stretching. No bouncing, okay? And so you can do your arms, you can grab onto something and do your chest muscles. A lot of times I would start with the head and just work my way down. So you can do some light curls with your head. But if you simply look straight up and hold it, you can even go farther back if you're stretching your stomach muscles. The muscles on the sides of your neck here, the big muscles, that's your sternocleidomastoid. Actually affects breathing. So when people have trouble breathing, we know we got to stretch that muscle. And you don't want to bounce though, because when you bounce, you're going too far out, and then your muscles don't go back the way they're supposed to, and you create inflammation. So you just stretch. And usually you're going to stretch, you hold it for about 15 seconds, then you should be able to go just a little bit farther. That's the way you stretch. And just do every single muscle. Of course, you should be all be able to do the flamingo. That's where you just go like this. Right? So everybody can do the flamingo. If you have to hold on to something, you can hold on to it. Do it on the ground, just lay out. There's lots of videos on YouTube that you can watch. But here's what happens. When we start doing this stretching every single morning, a day or two later, people are coming in, oh, I got a sore muscle here, my back's a little sore. It's like, yeah, because you haven't been stretching. And the older you get, the more important that this stretching is. And it's free. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. Put a sermon on TV, that's what I usually do. Just stretching while I'm watching a little something on a sermon or something. And, but yeah, here's what happens, okay? After that few weeks, 3 weeks later, people are like, man, I have got a totally different range of motion. Every one of them has huge success just from stretching. It's amazing. We had a gentleman come in there, his name was Michael. He had a back problem. They wanted to do surgery on him. And they said he's never going to be able to golf again. So he comes to the wellness center, and we could tell immediately, because when he was stretching, when we do his range of motion, the whole body's moving, it was like he was really protecting it. And we started doing deep tissue massages on him. Every other day, deep tissue massages. What is deep tissue massaging? Stretching. That's what it is, deep tissue stretching. A couple weeks later, he's like, man, I feel so much better. He's having a little better range of motion. And so we gave him the stretches to do at home. A couple months later, he calls me up and says, Mark, I'm at the golf course. I'm golfing. That was his favorite thing to do. And he said, I've got an appointment coming up with the doctor. So about a month later, he calls me back, and he said, the doctor says I don't need surgery. See, he was just living a sedentary life on a computer for 8-10 hours a day. And then he'd go home with a remote for another few hours a day. More and more sedentary, more and more sedentary. Pretty soon it's more and more chronic and more chronic. That's what was happening to him. Granted, some people do need surgeries and things like that, issues, but he just needed to get that thing stretched out. And it took a few months, but he's out there golfing. Talked to his brother yesterday. And he said he's just out there loving it. So, but that's what you do. Now the next thing we do, after you've done your stretching, what I like to do is I would take people on just an adventure. A lot of them have traveled sometimes 2 days to get to our location, because we got a lot of people coming from other countries, and they're stressed out. And people are coming from a toxic environment. They're stressed out. Their work environment is toxic, or their home environment. And there's studies out there that show, well, if you want to lose weight, it's very difficult to lose weight if you're stressed out about losing weight. Because your cortisol levels are so high, gripping onto those fat cells, that it's very difficult to lose weight. And the studies that are out there shows that if you go to a museum and just look at other people's creations, it will immediately drop your cortisol levels by 67%. It's that fast to reduce your cortisol levels. So I just said to myself, I said, you know what, let's just go on an adventure. Get rid of the cell phones, because those are stress machines. Get rid of the computers. Let's go look at some of God's creations. And just relax and have some fun. And get people to... Now there are two principles I should share with you. There's two principles that every wellness center has some form of. And principle number one, never compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. And if you're comparing yourself to others, it's going to raise your cortisol levels. And a lot of these social networks, they're designed to compare yourself to others. Look how many likes they have. Look how many followers that person has. I don't have that many followers. I don't need a follower. I just want to follow. I'll follow the Lord. He's the only one that should have followers, right? But it stresses people out, and their cortisol levels go up. So never compare yourself to others. That's the first principle. And don't think other people are comparing themselves to you, because most of the time you think somebody else is comparing themselves to you, and they're not thinking about you at all. It's you thinking that somebody else is comparing themselves to you. Second principle, do the best you can with where you're at today. That easy. Just do the best you can today with where you're at. Some of us are getting older. We don't have the mobility we used to have. We might have internal problems, external problems. Could be marital or family problems. Could be financial problems. Just do the best you can today. Okay? If you got financial problems, just take one day and don't go shopping. Don't go on Amazon and say, what can I find? And at the end of the day, you're going to look back and say, okay, we did a good job today. We did my best today, and I didn't spend a bunch of money, so I'm solving the problem, and you'll actually sleep better. So you evaluate yourself at night. Did you do the best you could today? And if you didn't, well, tomorrow's a new day. And you're going to be more conscious about it because you reevaluated yourself and you told yourself. And you got to be honest about it. I didn't do my best today. And you just take those steps and eventually you'll get there. So, okay. So then, after our day of adventure, now we're going to get to work on you. And when we work on you, some people it's a little challenging, but the first thing we do is we start detoxing, okay? Every wellness center in the country does some form of detoxing the first 3 to 5 days that you're there, okay? They all do a detox period. Now, what we did for detox was juicing, and most of the wellness centers do this. And you'll have one juicing for breakfast and one for lunch. That's it. Most wellness centers only do 2 meals a day. They'll do the morning meal like 8 o'clock, and then the next meal is like 2 or 3 o'clock. And that's just what they do. So you would actually have a juice for breakfast, juice for lunch. We might do some turmeric tea in between, or ginger tea. Might even do a little onion broth, something like that at the end of the day, And but when it comes to juicing, you do not want to do fruit juicing. People think fruit fasts are going to help them lose weight. It doesn't. You can only eat as much fruit as your body's going to burn in fuel. The rest turns into triglycerides and bloats your fat cells. You actually gain weight on fruit diets. So it's all vegetable juice, okay? And we're not doing a lot of beets or carrots. It's like less than 25% would be in beets or carrots. The rest of it is your kale, your spinach, your romaine, your celery. Cucumbers work great. What else you got? Radishes. You can put parsley. You can put lots of flavoring in it. Turmeric, ginger, things like that. I usually always put some Celtic salt in there. Celtic salt has 94 minerals, and it really absorbs into the cells. Really, really good. So Celtic salt works really good. And so that's what you're going to do, that juicing every day. Now, I've seen other wellness centers, one wellness center, they did nothing but rice for 3 days, and it wasn't flavored. 3 days, nothing but rice. After 3 days, it's like, is that edible? Can I eat it? Give me anything. Can I eat the napkins with little bite marks out of it? You're like, okay, these guys are getting hungry. But what they try to do is shock your taste buds, so that everything after that tastes great, you know. So I don't know if they just have really bad cooks or what, but they shock your taste buds. But let me share with you the secret to every single detox in the country, because you can do this at home, and you don't need to go buy a $700 juicer, which is about what a good juicer costs, okay? You can do this at home. And the way you do that is simply go 3 days a month. Just take 3 days, do no fats or oils whatsoever. No fats, no oils, no olive oil, no coconut oil, no avocados, no peanut butter. You're just gonna eat your fruit, your healthy vegetables, your healthy carbs. That's what you're gonna eat for 3 days. The reason you do that is because we're loading yourself up with oxygen in your blood and in your cells. We need the right amount of oxygen in our blood. That's our filtering system. That's what filters out all these harmful particles. But when your body is loaded with fats and oils, then it can't filter out these harmful particles on a regular basis. Cancer cells come in and say, hey man, I like it here. Nobody's kicking me out. I think I'm gonna hang around and throw a party. Invite some friends and we're gonna multiply. And that's what happens. So if you can just do that detox once a month for 3 days, no fats and oils, no calories from fat, it will detox your body on a regular basis like that. And you don't have to spend all that money. So it'll save you some money. Yeah, the fact of the matter is that the number one problem that we have in society today is the fats and oils. Okay? We're getting bombarded by fats and oils. And I do understand good fats. But if you look at, here, let me share this with you real quick. That's going, okay. I got the USDA Census Bureau right here. Love quoting the federal government. Vegetable oil alone, okay? National average for vegetable oil alone here in America, 10.2 pounds per person per month. That's 2 of these that the average person consumes every month, just in vegetable oil. This is not counting the meats and the cheeses and all the animal products that you're consuming. And so we're getting massively bombarded by this stuff. This is why we have a problem. People are just getting so bombarded by fats and oils. And you don't need all that oil. Some people are drinking more than a cup of oil a day. Yeah. Oil, fats and oils, is the cause of diabetes. Type 2 diabetes? How do you reverse type 2 diabetes? You get rid of the fats and oils. Every wellness center in the country reverses diabetes within 3 weeks. They have you completely off your meds. 99% of the time. Because of the fats and oils. There's these valves in our pancreas and all over our body. They go open, close, and open, close. There's a blockage. So you need that insulin that forces those doors open and close. When if you just get rid of the blockage, which is the fats and oil, then your body's doing the job it's supposed to be doing, and you don't need all that insulin. Even type 1 diabetics have far more success managing their diabetes when they get rid of the fat and oil. Now, I do understand good fats, but in order to reverse diabetes, you got to get rid of all those fats for a few weeks. After you've reversed your diabetes, then you can reintroduce some good fats. A little olive oil here, a little coconut oil here. But really, nobody's going to have an oil deficiency.
On the days that you're detoxing, do you only do the juice?
No, you can do it at home just by eating vegetables and it's fat-free.
I mean, when you're saying to detox and drink juice for breakfast and lunch, do they also eat?
No.
It's only...
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. And I thought I'm a big guy. I eat a lot. I thought I was going to be hungry. I'm not. It's amazing. We got a juicer at home. We do it regularly. And you won't be hungry like you think you would.
Can we use avocado for fat?
No.
No?
Not if you're detoxing and not if you're a diabetic.
Okay.
Now, after your diabetes has been reversed, you're off your meds, then yes, you bring in some avocados.
I'm not diabetic.
You bring in those good fats, exactly, but not during the detox period. Diabetes, that's the main thing, is a lot of doctors think that diabetes is caused by sugar or carbs. It's not. It's caused by the fat and oil. You have a reaction to sugars and carbs and things because you have diabetes. You have a reaction to it. but it doesn't make it the cause of it. See how that works? So, yes. And the other thing we do with diabetics is we want to get rid of those high glycemic foods that are going to spike you and crash you. You know, spike and crash and spike and crash. You want to get rid of those. So that's the other thing we look at for that. Okay, this is doing pretty good, so we're going to add our oats. I've got steel cut oats. Now these are the quick steel cut oats. I actually get them at Aldi's. If you have an Aldi store, I don't know. I haven't seen them. Okay. They've got the quick steel cut oats. If you use regular steel cut oats, you want to let this simmer in for 15, 20 minutes. And then we use these oats. Now these oats right here, I actually put them in a food processor and gave them a little zip. Because you don't want to turn this into flour, because then your sausage patties are going to be really gummy, But if you don't give them a little zip in the food processor, they're too flaky, and you end up where they just kind of fall apart. They don't hold together. So you got to kind of get the sweet spot right in between, and you'll be okay. And we just put in a little bit at a time, so that way it'll not all clump together on you. There's a really good book you want to read. Let me show you why this is happening to us with the massive amount of fat and oil that we have. There's a book here called The End of Overeating. This is David Kessler. David Kessler was the head of the Food and Drug Administration. Double doctorate, real genius guy. He found out that the manufacturers of food hire scientists to find out how to make their food as addictive as possible. Whatever they can do to make that food addictive, they're going to do it. You all know who bought out the food companies years ago? The tobacco industry. Yeah. Back when the tobacco industry was losing their strength because the Surgeon General and all that stuff was coming out, they said, we need to diversify. R.J. Reynolds, it's a tobacco company. They bought out Kraft Foods, General Mills, and they said, we can make this food as addictive as cigarettes, and they can't do anything about it. And that's what they did. This is why we're getting, and here's the thing about in the book. They found out that there's an exact combination of sugar, oil, and salt. You get this exact combination of sugar, oil, and salt, it will trigger your endorphins. This is really wet, so we're going to let that tighten up a little bit. Yeah, it will trigger your endorphins to desire that product. Even if all you do is see a picture of that food a month later. Just see the picture. It will trigger your endorphins. That's how addictive they can make the food nowadays. Just by sugar, oil, and salt. And if I do this, people are really going to get their mouths watering. If I leave this up here, people's mouths are going to start salivating, just looking at the picture. Yeah. And this is 50% calories from fat. This right here is 60% calories from fat. I had to go get a new bag because the old bag was dripping grease out of the bottom. I had it so long. Yeah. This is the weight gainers activating the liver. There goes your diabetes and everything. So there's a difference between complex carbs and simple carbs, isn't there? But this is like the first half of a football game, the second half of a football game, right? It would take 15 pounds of potatoes to get the same amount of calories as these 2 bags of chips. But this is the problem. We're getting bombarded by fat and oil. How about the hummus? You guys, anybody buy hummus? Sambra, there's different brands. 77% calories from fat. They're selling you flavored oil. They're selling you flavored oil and passing it off as health food. This is so unhealthy. I mean, this is one of the most unhealthy foods you can eat. Make it at home. It's chickpeas. You want to make your hummus seem like it was made with fat and oil? Put about 30% white beans in with the chickpeas. It'll give it that creaminess, just like it was made with oil. Yeah, little secret there. But yeah, this is what they're selling you. It's crazy out there. We're just getting bombarded by fat and oil. So that's what you need to do. You need to stay away from those fats and oils. And it'll help dramatically. Weight loss, everything. Okay. See how this is tightening up? getting pretty tight there, so we're gonna start putting these things out. So I've got some cans here, and I think I'll just start scooping these up. This is a size 30 scooper, so I'm actually the youngest of 6 kids. All my brothers and sisters, 300, 400 pounds. 2 brothers that were over 400 pounds. My sister died at the age of 54 from cancer. My mom died at the age of 72 from a brain tumor caused by the aspartame in diet sodas. And they know aspartame causes brain tumors, and they still put it in the diet sodas. Yes. And we ate the most unhealthy foods you could think of. Bacon and eggs every day, hamburger helper and hamburgers and chicken and lots of ice cream and chips and soda and candy bars and donuts. And that's what we ate every day. So I'm really thankful God showed me that way to eat. Or I'd be right there.
Thank you for showing us.
My brother Paul, I gotta leave these here for a minute. I'll leave them here. My brother Paul, he had a cholesterol level of 1,000. He weighed 400 pounds. He had a heart attack. Went in the hospital. They put in a stent. Next morning for breakfast, they gave him bacon and eggs. 3 times they did that to him. Finally, I said, that's it. I'm going to go visit him. So I stayed with him for 3 weeks, put him on an all-vegan, plant-strong diet. I didn't even do no fat. I just did low fat with him. And 3 weeks later, his cholesterol, it was at 900 when I got there. He just took a test. 3 weeks later, his cholesterol was at 300 and change. He's like, I can't believe this. And he had just felt better because he get more oxygen, and the reaction in his skin, his reaction was really much better. So he's now it's been, let's see, 6 years for him now. He's got his cholesterol down to 170, and he's lost over 100 pounds. So he's doing good. Now what I did for him is what you all need to do, and that is get your kitchen designed for success. Look, if everything in your kitchen is unhealthy, and you bring home a carrot, how long is it going to be in the fridge? Turns to rubber, gets all moldy. Yeah, you'll put in those drawers down below where good intentions go to die, right? Little edgy drawers, yeah. And you open them up to see if something's alive, and they're like caskets. You open up the caskets, right? Close them real quick, That's what people do, And so you gotta have your kitchen designed for success. Now I do have classes how to get your kitchen designed for success. Not doing that today, but what I did was I went on my YouTube channel, and I've got a dozen videos on there that will show you exactly how to get your kitchen set up for success. How to set up your refrigerators, your freezers, your cupboards, everything. So that's a critical point, is to get those. Look, I can bring every one of you in a wellness center and get you healthy in 3 weeks because you're in a controlled environment. You don't have a choice what you're going to eat and what you're going to do. Okay? You don't have a choice. In fact, my team is going through your luggage. We've had people trying to smuggle in cases of candy bars. Yeah, contraband. It's crazy. All right, what I'm doing here, I had some leftovers, so I'm just making some big burger patties here. You make patties with them. But yeah, all we do is take a spatula. This would actually be meatballs, right? If you flavored it a little different. I would give it more Italian flavoring. But, and if you just press them down, just take a wet spatula and press them down, you got sausage patties. Isn't that easy? And they're very consistent. They look very consistent. So, my brother Wayne owns a cattle farm in Wyoming. He weighs almost 400 pounds. Not that interested in getting healthy, with his cattle farm. And my wife and I went to go see him, and when he takes his feed truck out to the cows, they all come running over, and they're so excited to see him, and he just pets them, and he's like, "Oh, little cow, how you doing?" Scratches their ears and kind of wrestles with them. You know, they like to get wrestling with them, and so they're like his pets, his family, until he decides which one he wants to eat. Yeah, that's my brother waiting for you. Yeah. He called me a while back too, and he said, he called me and he says, "Mark, we've been eating veggie burgers for the last few weeks." And I thought, great, you know, maybe he saw me lose 75 pounds. My brother Paul's lost over 100 pounds. You know, cholesterol's down to 170 for him. He's doing fabulous. I thought maybe Wayne was going to get healthy, you know. So what it did for us. And then he says, "My other cow, I named him Black Bean." So next month we're having black bean burgers, black bean steaks. I was like, no, that doesn't count. All right, these are going to go in the oven, and we're going to do them at 350 degrees. They're going to go in there for about 15 minutes, and so we'll warm on the bottom there. You're okay? 15 minutes, and then we rotate the pans. You know, just so you're getting a little more even cooking, and do it for another 15 minutes. So we'll get those going, and we're good to go. So the next thing we're going to do in the wellness centers, just to let you know, we're eliminating the fats for diabetes, and we're eliminating the fats for the detox time, and then we're bringing back the good fats. You know, some olive oil, a little coconut oil, avocados are great, you know, things like that. I'd rather eat the olives. They're very high in fat. You know, eat the whole olive, eat corn, you know. The healthy fats is much better. Your nuts, things like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is load you up on a whole bunch of carbs. The more carbs, the better.
Yummy.
Yeah, isn't this good news? People are like shocked. That was like a weird reaction. What do you mean, carbs? Yes, we need a lot more carbs. This is called the starch solution. Dr. McDougall, one of the better doctors in the world, he shows in the book how at least 70% of your diet needs to be in carbs and starches. 70%. People are thinking, that's crazy. Here's the low-carb fraud. That's T. Colin Campbell. He wrote the China study. Real quick read, why you need to eat more carbs. The low-carb myth, Dr. Ari Whitman Wade Smith. New York Times bestseller right here. With 490 scientific sources, with all the sources, showing why you need to eat more carbs. The people that eat the most carbs live the longest. The people that eat the most carbs have the least amount of sickness and disease. Kenya, 90% of their diet is carbs. They never have heart disease.
No carb.
They just don't. And in fact, there's a new study that came out from Sweden showing that the people that eat the most potatoes have the least amount of heart disease. Yeah, isn't that something? How not to die. This is Dr. Michael Greger.
Our friend here wants to know, does that include potato chips?
No. That's the secret. There's a difference between complex carbs and simple carbs. Okay, eat the potato, not the potato chip. Okay, don't eat the processed carbs. You want the whole carbs. How not to die is Dr. Michael Greger. He's the #1 science doctor in the world. And his website, you should write this one down. His website is called nutritionfacts.org. And you go to nutritionfacts.org and you can ask any question, gout, breast cancer, anything you want. And you'll have a dozen videos and articles with all the sources and all the science, all about it. Diabetes, he's got wonderful videos all about everything I'm talking about with diabetes. It's Dr. Michael Greger, Nutrition Facts. I got him to sign the book too. I was actually his opening presenter at the whole conference in California a couple of years ago. So, yeah, got the book signed. Now, see, people just don't understand this whole carb thing. Now I'm going to wake you up. This is going to be a wake-up call for you, okay? Quinoa is 21% carbs. I thought quinoa was health food. Right. Oats, 66%. I'm using some of that today. Bananas, 23% carbs. Apples, 15% carbs. Beets is 11. Oranges is 11% carbs. Blueberries, 14% carbs. So if you're going to stay away from carbs, you can no longer eat blueberries. Doesn't that sound ridiculous?
Yes.
Chickpeas, 27% carbs. Kidney beans is 22%. Kale has 7 grams of carbs in it. That means you can no longer eat kale. Sounds kind of ridiculous, isn't it? Celery, 3 grams. Watermelon, 21 grams of carbs. No, you can no longer eat watermelon. See, here's the thing you need to realize. Every single food, every single healthy plant, vegetable, fruit is carbs. In fact, if you're going to stay away from carbs, the only possible food you could ever eat is meat. So who's really telling you to stay away from carbs? The meat industry. I'm guessing that they spend millions of dollars having thousands of fake accounts out there on social networks just to stay away from carbs, stay away from carbs, stay away from carbs. They might be hiring, companies to lie for them, eat more carbs, or no, stay away from carbs, stay away from carbs, yeah. Because they want the money coming back to your company. What this is called is priming. I don't know if you've ever heard of the word priming. Restaurants do priming all the time. In Vegas, we did priming all the time. We want to sell Italian wine, we put on Italian music. If we want to get you out of your seats quicker during rush hour, we play faster beat music. You go into restaurants, you're going to always hear faster beat music during rush hours because it makes you eat fast and get out of there so they can turn the table. Yeah, this is priming. They're priming you. I'll give you an example here. This book is called Nature's Robots. This is the entire history of protein. All the studies, the universities, all the amino acids, everything is in here. They took the highest amount of protein anybody would ever possibly need, and they doubled that. That was their recommendation to the World Health Organization, the USDA, and all these people. And then those people doubled that number. Yes. In fact, I've got the World Health Organization's website right here. Here it is. Here it is. Yeah. The average man needs 55 grams a day of protein. The average woman needs 44. When it should be 11, according to the science. But it went to 22, and then 22 went to 44. And so it should be 11. But just according to their numbers, 55 for men, 44 for women, national average in America, 120 grams a day. So we're almost 3 times the amount of protein we're supposed to be having according to their numbers. We're over 10 times the amount of protein we're supposed to be having according to the actual science. And they know for a fact, too much protein causes kidney damage. Too much protein is the leading cause of kidney stones. Yes. And I've got one last science here for you. Journal of American Medical Association. They're the pinnacle of all studies. This is a 26-year study that they did. And here's the conclusion, word for word. High animal protein is positively associated with mortality, while high plant protein is inversely associated with mortality. Wow. Even in people with multiple lifestyle risk factors. In every single case, animal protein kills you quicker, plant protein makes you live longer. So there's a big difference between these two proteins. But if you look at the world today, let's ask the question, what are the 3, we'll take the top 3 nutrients that society always says you need more of. Protein, yeah, I gave you that one. Protein, calcium, and probably vitamin D, right? You need more vitamin D, but don't get it from the sunlight, right? Which is where you're supposed to be getting it from. So protein, calcium, and vitamin D. Need more of those. Well, what are the 3 nutrients? Basically, the only 3 nutrients you get out of animal products. Protein, calcium, and vitamin D. The exact same 3. Now, isn't that a coincidence? And even though we have the highest consumption of animal products that we've had in generations, how can we be the lowest on those exact same 3 nutrients? It's not possible. And it's not true. The reason we believe this is because you're being primed. And they know the better the lies are presented. And the more often you hear it, the more absurd the truth is going to sound. So they just keep telling you over and over and over and over and over, and eventually you believe it. And not, a lot of them do it for money, because they want the money going to the meat industry and the dairy industry and everything. But I'll give you another example. Go to the grocery store. Everywhere you look in the grocery store, high in protein, fortified with vitamin D, calcium supplemented. You see it everywhere. And then your brain is saying, oh, I must need more. Let me buy the one that's high in protein. They're doing that because they want your money. They know if they put that in their product, they're going to sell more product than the one that doesn't have high in protein. See how that works? So we see it over and over and over. There was a doctor on television a couple of years ago, and he was saying, now you need more protein. I was like, more than what? He hasn't even seen my blood test. What kind of doctor is going to diagnose you looking at a camera lens? One that's getting a big paycheck. That's the kind. Well, it must be true. I heard it on Facebook. That's where I get my news. It's like, this is the crazy world we live in. So you need carbs, more carbs, but you need the healthy carbs, for sure. All right, we're going to do some oats in a jar here. I've got some almond milk. And one thing you'll find out about my recipes make sense. I really pay attention because there's so many recipes out there that are just nutty. And you ever get a recipe for, and it'll say like 1 cup of tomato sauce, and then you open up the can of tomato sauce and you've got like this much left over in the can. What do you do with it? Throw it in the recipe, right? Exactly. So my recipe calls for 1 cup of yogurt. Well, these are half-cup portions. So you're not going to have a few tablespoons left over. It just works just right. And there's lots of vegan, vegetarian, organic, non-GMO. Silk's a pretty good brand. There's a couple good brands out there. So we got the yogurt. What's next? I don't have my sheet with me. Maple syrup? Okay. How much is it?
3rd cup.
3rd cup. Okay. Well, you guys just say when. I don't have a measuring thing here. So. When? Is that okay? Seems like a lot to me. Okay. Vanilla? Okay, just say when. Was that a lot? Okay, that's it. I'm getting my spoons out. I'm picking out my spoons. We're going to make sure this is done right today. Cinnamon.
You can add some.
Cinnamon's a teaspoon, right? I really love these spoons here because they fit inside the jars. Yeah, gotta get these long spoons. They just work the best. And that was ginger, and then nutmeg is half a teaspoon, right?
Where did you get the measuring spoons, remember?
Huh?
Where did you get them?
I think my wife got them for me on Amazon. But if you're not supposed to be shopping, you have to wait. What else? A little bit of salt? And I think that's it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me do a little stir with this. Now if you're stirring at home, if you're going around in a circle like this, basically all you're doing is moving the food around in a circle. You want to go left to right, back and forth. That's where you get the incorporation. You still hit the edges, but left to right, left to right. It gets it so much better than just going around in a circle like this. All you're doing is moving the food around. So left to right, just like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is add the oats. I'm using half regular oats and half quick oats today. You can use either one. I just like the combination because I make big batches for the road. We've got our carrots, raisins, and walnuts. That's kind of got carrot cake written all over it, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, wait. Flaxseed, or chia seed. Was it? Chia seed. I have chia seeds today.
2 tablespoons.
Chia seeds. Yeah.
By
By the way, chia seeds are omega-3s. Highest omega-3s of anything. I don't talk about this a lot at events, but I believe that we have a perfect God.
Amen.
So let's look at these chia seeds for a minute. Where do you find the thickest oils? The around the equator? That's where your coconut oil is, right? That's a saturated fat. That's the thickest oils. You'll find them around the equator. The farther north or the farther south you go from the equator, the thinner the oils get. You got your avocados and you got your olives, they're a little bit thinner. You got your nuts that are going to be a little bit thinner. You got to get all the way into Canada for your omega-3s, which is your thinnest of the oils. So your thinnest oils, omega-3s, then it's omega-6s, omega-9s, and then your saturated oils around the equator. Well, let's look at people. If you live around the equator, you have very thin blood. So God had the perfect oil for your environment, the thicker oils. If you live in Alaska, your blood is much, much thicker. The last thing you want is coconut oil. You need those thinner omega-3s. Even the walruses up there, they're consuming the omega-3 algae out in the ocean. That's why they have omega-3s in them. You know, God had the perfect oil wherever we were. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. But now, here comes boats and airplanes, everything going to and fro, you know, and then of course you've got central heat and air conditioning now. So it's kind of really messed up the original plan. But yeah, that's kind of what happens there. The other thing too, if you think about this, the frontal lobe is your connection with God. Okay, your frontal lobe is your connection with God. What is the number one thing that blocks the frontal lobe from getting the fuel that it needs? Fats. Saturated fat. Yeah, so who's really telling you to go on a keto diet? Satan. Yes, Satan, because he wants that frontal lobe blocked so you don't get the fuel that you need. And if you're loading yourself up with fats and oils, those saturated fats, you're blocking your frontal lobe. Well, here we go again. What is the number one best fuel for the frontal lobe? Your healthy carbs. So who's really telling you to stay away from carbs? That's Satan. Saying, hey, don't eat those healthy carbs. I don't want you having a good connection with God. See how that works? Yes, it's the frontal lobe that, you know, and really the fats and oils, nobody's going to have an oil deficiency. It just doesn't happen. We're just thickening this up a little bit here. Yeah. Keto diet, what else they got? It's caveman diet, I think it's now.
With the carnivore diet.
Yeah, carnivore diet. You can lose weight on those type of diets, a keto diet, because you're tricking your body into burning fat for fuel. That's what you're doing. You're just tricking your body into burning fat. But it comes at a price. Kidney failure, liver damage, you know, the list goes on and on. So I've seen people do it for a very short amount of time just to burn off some serious fat or something, but it really comes at a price, and there's a lot healthier way to do it by eating this healthier lifestyle I'm talking about. So, okay, this looks like it's ready to go in the jars. So I'm just going to start getting this in the jars here. Now I'm going to share something new with you here. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this word called retrogradation. Somebody's ever heard of that word? No. Retrogradation. Okay. Retrogradation. I did a class, this was a couple of years ago. They were having a vegan, vegetarian, plant strong conference for 100 doctors. And the conference was being held at the McDonald's headquarters in Chicago. Yes! Vegan conference at McDonald's for doctors. Yes. All their chefs had to cook vegan, low-fat food, and they did a really good job too. They did. They had a really good job. And so they asked me to do this class for these doctors, and thankfully I had a couple doctors that knew retrogradation, and I had a good coach with Dr. Michael Greger. So retrogradation is the process of making foods starch resistant. Now, you might have heard of starch-resistant foods. That just means that it's more resistant to digestion. It's going to take longer to digest, okay? And so that's what starch-resistant means. A green banana actually takes more calories to digest the banana than is actually in the banana. So it actually helps you lose weight. When the banana goes from green to brown, the starch turns to sugar. You end up with much more calories, and it is much faster to digest. See how that works? So your green banana is the more starch resistant. Now when you go to do retrogradation, that's the process of making food starch resistant. What you have to do is take your healthy carbs, and I call it the fabulous 5 that we should be eating all the time. Beans, rice, oats, potatoes, and your whole grains. That's the 5 plus 5, okay? Now, in order to make those starch resistant, you have to cook them and then refrigerate them and then reheat them, okay? Let's take a baked potato or a boiled potato or a steamed potato. You know how it's all fluffy, right? Baked potato or something? What happens if you put that potato in the fridge? Shh, tightens up, doesn't it? You just created starch-resistant food, and the process is called retrogradation. Now, why is this so important? It's going to take longer to digest. So for type 2 diabetics, this is fantastic, because you're not going to have that spike and crash and spike and crash. The fuel is being released slower throughout the day, and that's what you want. Okay? Weight loss, same situation. If it takes longer to release its fuel throughout the day, you're not going to be as hungry throughout the day. So you're going to eat less. And the other thing about retrogradation, which is really amazing, is that it actually prevents celiac disease and leaky gut, which is the #1 increase of disease right now is from leaky gut. That's the cause of so many problems in the world today. Well, this prevents it. So you cook your food, you refrigerate it, and you reheat it. And even like pasta, cook it, refrigerate it, and then reheat it and eat it. They did studies with chickpeas, found out if they do it 3 times, refrigerate it, reheat it, refrigerate it, reheat it, it's far more starch resistant than if they only do it once. Yes, so, and what do people do nowadays? The restaurants are packed. Nobody knows how to cook. They don't eat leftovers. It's hot and fresh, hot, fresh, hot, fresh, hot, fresh everywhere. You know, we need to refrigerate our food. Do canning. Freeze it. You know, I'll take these beans and make big batches and then freeze it in containers. So I just pull out a little bit at a time. You know, and then you're eating those starch-resistant foods, which are so much better for you. It's a win-win in every way to have those starch-resistant foods. So, yeah. Oats in a jar, ready. They're going to go in the fridge, and we'll just have them tomorrow. So we'll get back here tomorrow at, say, 8 o'clock. We'll be ready for breakfast.
I got it.
Now, what I did for you today, I did something special for you today, though. I made you whole oat groats. Most people have never had whole oat groats. They've had the steel cut or the quick oats and stuff. The whole oat groats will last much longer throughout the day. And at the wellness centers, we would cook this, refrigerate it, reheat it the next day to eat it. So that's what we would do. But this has the same ingredients as the oats in a jar, except I did not put the carrots in here because it doesn't give it a really good flavor on the hot side. And I didn't put the almond milk in there. But all the spices, so it's got the same spice blends and raisins and nuts and everything in here. So, but I just want you to taste the texture, because it's just such a wonderful texture that really fills you up and keeps you full. The satiety rating on this is so much better than quick oats. Just lasts longer throughout the day. So, all right, we're going to do some better butter here. The better butter. So we've got some water, coconut milk. You get that pretty much anywhere. And some brands are a little thicker than others. So you'll have to do this recipe once at home. And then the second time you make your adjustments based on whatever coconut milk you're using. This right here is your cornmeal. Now your recipe says 6 tablespoons. I'm using 10 tablespoons today. Because the cornmeal I'm using is a flour cornmeal. So if you're using the flour cornmeal like Walmart has, it'll be 10 tablespoons. So it just depends how thick you want it. We got some nutritional yeast flakes, salt, the turmeric here. That's my color. I like having that color on there. And then we'll do some lemon. So if this is all you did, it would last in the fridge for about a week. But if I put in the apple cider vinegar, it'll last for about 2 weeks in the fridge because it's a preservative. And it tastes much better. It just really gives it that other flavor. So we're going to give this a stir. I got to make sure it does not burn though. That's Celtic. No, I'm using the pink Himalayan salt, which has like 82 minerals. That's your second best. And then your the rest of your salts are like 8 minerals. I think it's very, very low mineral count. So, but you want to keep stirring this or it's going to stick to the bottom. So, and I think while I'm doing that, let me see if I can knock this out. We'll see how the watermelons are. They've been very difficult lately. It's the end of the season. Nice part is you can just cut the ends off of this like that and you can stand it upright. And then it's really easy to just cut the sides off. My mom, she would not buy watermelons. She's like, oh, they just take up so much room in the fridge. And with 6 kids, she had to have enough room for the hamburger and the pork chops. Gotta have your priorities, right? And actually, I think she just didn't want to carry them home from the grocery store. Once you get it here, you can lay it flat. Yeah, we got a wagon. I remember the wagon. And then you lay it flat, do a couple slices sideways like this. Of course, if you're going to do this at home, don't put your hand on this side, okay? Keep your hand on top so you're going to slice the fingers off. And then you do slices on the top, just like a checkerboard here. And then you go this way. Just like that. Yeah, in 1 minute, you got your entire watermelon cut up.
Wow.
Woo! I should have been a cook. Watch, Linda. Next time you have a fellowship meal, you're going to have 20 people all bringing watermelon. Okay, that's still stirring, so whoops, just okay. See if I can do another one real quick here. Pineapple, I got a pineapple back here. My hands are a little difficult today. Okay, pineapple. All you have to do is cut the ends off. And then we're going to go all the way around the outside. And that's the bitter part. That's the part that they would add sugar and sweeteners and lots of different things to get the flavor to pull out of it. Or use it for scented candles and different things. Then you just quarter this baby right on the core. So that way you can pull the core out like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hear you over there. I hear you. I cook with my ears a lot. Yeah. We get those off there. I know some people like to chew on those, but we don't serve in the restaurants, that's for sure. Okay. And then when you get it here, you can do the same thing as the watermelon. You can cut it into as big or as small pieces as you want. And you go this way. I'm not sure how much pineapple costs at the grocery store in the can, but that's probably what, 2 or 3 cans?
Yeah.
So, and the pineapple's not that expensive, so you're really saving money. And it's good, you can freeze it. You can freeze pineapple, it works really well. Back in Hawaii, they'll freeze the whole pineapple before they even cut it. Yeah, and then when they're ready to eat it, they just pull it out of the freezer and cut it up and boom, it's ready to eat. So, yeah. Okay. So this is all heated up here. I want it to be a little bit thicker though, so we're going to put it in the blender here. Okay. And give this baby a blend. Make sure it's on low when you start too. Okay, just like that. We've got our better butter. Oh, wait. It was supposed to get thicker. What did I do? How am I going to fix this?
Good.
Hey, somebody's got the answer. Throw this in the fridge overnight. Then when it comes out, you got your butter. So, yes. Now what you can do when this comes out is you can reblend it. Or the wire whip. I like to make it extra thick here, because then if you take a wire whip later on, if it needs to be thinner, you can add a little water to it to thin it down, but you can't get it thicker. So if it's too thin here, you're never going to get it thicker. So, but I'll have some spoons over here, and I just want everybody to just taste it. We'll let people take a texture, because you just want to taste the texture and the flavor. It's amazing. So yeah. Okay. If you were here yesterday, you got my favorite scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But right, if you go to the Greek, there's never the word can in there. I can do is all about self. And just because you can doesn't mean you will. And so you want to get rid of the word can in that scripture. And the scripture actually goes like this: I do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So just put that conviction in your diet. And if you will just spend 3 weeks doing stretching, at the end of that 3 weeks, you're going to be like, wow, this really worked. And if you can do 3 weeks of just eating a healthy lifestyle, usually within 10 days, we see huge success. And especially diabetics, you're cutting your meds in half within 10 days. So you're going to see huge results. And that's what you do. Just have that conviction. Just keep doing it. Be consistent.